Mears came down in, Bobby.
Now what happens here, what they've done is they've left their brakes set for the road circuit. They've got too much on the front and not enough on the back for oval tracks. Now, all during practice, the cars just don't come in that fast, so the drivers just don't get them set right.
Now this was a stop while we were away. This happened just a few minutes ago. Rick Mears came out of the pits, accelerated. Now let's see where the penalty, as he came out of the pits, is when they would have noticed something to assess the penalty. And what that does, of course, is give Michael Andretti, the penalty itself is actually the determining factor. If Michael Andretti the lead of the race, his father Mario is 5.5 seconds back, and Arie Luyendyk is now running in third. Bobby Rahal moves up, and Rick Mears slides into 5th place.
Yeah, and 5th place is a long ways back, and it shows you how much just a real short stop and go penalty, or shows you how much a stop hurts you from 215 miles an hour roughly down to 0, Paul.
Michael Andretti, who you see.
Let's go down to the pits once again. Brian Hammond.
Well, the story on Rick Mears, the reason he had the penalty for the stop and go, it was a pit violation exiting the pits. He did cross the white line. He had 4 tires over the white line, so that is why Rick Mears had to stop and go. Paul?
Very unlike Rick Mears as well. You'd think, in addition to the fact that he's normally careful, that he would recognize that because he has so many test miles here at Michigan. Arie Luyendyk trying to close down on Mario Andretti. Mario is running in 3rd place right now behind his son Michael. They just worked their way around Danny Sullivan, who is running well back in the order.
You know, Paul, and jumping over that yellow line when you leave the pit, you got to remember the cars today have 5- or 6-speed transmissions in them.
Look at Arie Luyendyk as he comes on the backstretch inside, picks up the position. Now can he hold on? Arie Luyendyk gets it coming into the corner. So Arie Luyendyk has moved up into 2nd place after starting in 10th.
Fabulous move by Luyendyk and that Cosworth-powered car, Paul. What I was saying is that they leave their acceleration from the back straightaway from the pits at a stop here is almost full speed. So that means that as they go around that turn, they are accelerating enormously fast. And what happens, Rick just slipped over a little bit.
I can't tell you how important what is happening here is to Arie Luyendyk, the Dutchman. Last year, he had promising performance after promising performance and might have gotten picked up by a better team. But he decided to stay, show loyalty to Dick Simon and the team that had put him where he was last year. All of this year until this moment has been a terrible disappointment for Arie. He has not been able to run with the leaders at all until now.
Danny Sullivan in the pits. Here's Brian Hammond.
Well, Danny Sullivan is in the pits. His engine is off. The crew takes the bonnet off of the car, and now they're going to work. Danny Sullivan sits dejectedly in the cockpit with the silent engine. Paul?
Well, obviously a very serious pit stop. Anytime you take the rear cowling off of the car, they're bouncing it a bit, Bobby. What could that be?
Something is broken or come loose. Remember, Michigan, you pull about 5 Gs through the turns. The car has a tremendous amount of twist to it that the cameras, as good as they are, just won't show. And that's something that's probably broken from.
You see, Danny, he was gesturing there. He's talking on his radio. He's looking over at the man in the pits with the radio. In this case, most probably his crew chief, and discussing some of the handling of the car in the two-way radio conversation so they avoid all the noise while they're working on the back of the car. Let's take a look. This is Rick Mears again on that stop as he exits the pits now. Now let's see. Remember, these Indy cars will get up to over 100 miles an hour in just a little over 3 seconds. He's coming out of the pits. He has to stay below the line on the pit apron as he moves out of the pit area. Let's watch and see if he does, Bobby.
All right, now it's the yellow line on the right that we're looking at to see what Rick does. Remember, he's still accelerating just as hard as that car will go, going through the shifts. Now he's getting right on the line, maybe almost just a little bit over it there. Right on it, right on it. Still right on it, came back. Now he didn't get over the line right there. Now there he's over the line. There he's over the line with the right rear, as you can see it right there, just barely. Now, that was more sliding. Remember what we said. It accelerates so fast that the car just breaks it loose a little bit right there is all it did.
All right, let's see as he comes all the way around. Just the momentum of the car really helped carry him up that high because it looks like he's trying to keep it down.
Now, in a few years back, they used to have the rule that you could get tires over it, but not the inside two, Paul.
Well, Michael Andretti leads the Michigan 500. He's won here before. He'd like to do it again. He works down inside the red, white, and blue car, Raul Boisel, and he's got a strong lead of just over 5 seconds. You ride with Michael Andretti, the leader at the Michigan 500. We'll be back with more right after this.
The calm before the storm. The driver introduction will be on.
The green flag flies as Mario Andretti.
Brought to you by CART and the IndyCar drivers.
We're back live at Michigan International Speedway as the second-place car, Arie Luyendyk, rolled into the pits. Let's go there and check a route.
Well, Arie Luyendyk and his team having a nice stop here on pit road. They're changing all 4 tires. He's taking a drink. They're checking to see if he wanted a wing adjustment. He waved it off, and now he runs over the water bottle, but he puts it back in gear, and a very quick stop for this team.
Arie Luyendyk, second place in and out. Al Unser Jr., who was running in 8th, went in and out of the pits at the same time. They have been stopping together, those two teams. There, you're on board with Little Al as he accelerates on the backstretch. Little Al is running down in the field, was 8th as he came into the stop. Arie Luyendyk lost a position, in fact, several when he came into the pits, dropped back to 5th. Let's go down to the pits and further update report on Danny Sullivan's day.
The story on Danny Sullivan is this. He has a severe handling problem. The car just wants to pitch sideways in the corner. Now, the last pit stop, they made a lot of changes. It didn't work. So what the team's doing now is changing the rear springs and shocks, hoping that will cure the problem. But obviously, this is a lengthy process. So Danny Sullivan will be well back when he gets back out on the racetrack, Paul.
Well, Sullivan caught one break. They just brought the yellow flag out. Caution light is on. The field will slow. This is the result of a report of debris on the racetrack, and that brings Rick Mears, the third-place car, in. Bobby Rahal, the fourth-place car, both coming into the pits.
That's going to be bad news for Luyendyk.
On board, you're on board really with Richard Buck, the crew chief for Rick Mears' car.
Yeah, anyway, that's going to hurt Luyendyk on that last stop. There's Rick in. He got a yellow flag stop. Comes Michael in. A lot of the cars will pit right now, but the guys that hit that green just before, Paul, are going to be hurt.
Bobby Rahal was running fourth as he came into the race. This is Michael Andretti, the leader of the race, is in the pits and holding the lead position, at least for the moment. He caught an advantageous caution period here. Michael seems confident as he nods to his crew and pulls out, and he has locked them up coming out of the pits. Michael chopped it over. Now he's got to figure out how to get that car around, and he's got a serious problem.
Amazing that he didn't stall it. That gives him at least one option.
Now this is really going to hurt him. We've seen a lot of things, but this is the first time we've seen this long get out of a pit.
Michael kicks the back end around. Now he doesn't have a reverse gear. They don't use reverse on ovals, so he has to use the crew to get him backwards. They say now he can go. He hits the throttle and is out of here. Remember, this all happened on a caution period that brought most of the front runners in. So perhaps Michael will have been very lucky by that yellow.
Yes, he was very lucky, but that didn't help him right there in that curve, Paul. The people couldn't see it on the television. If he would have gotten up on that curve, the cars are so close to the ground, he would have been stranded.
Michael's been struggling to keep the car down underneath that yellow line as well. Obviously, the momentum of the car as they leave the pits forces them to reduce speed, at least until they see clear running on that white line.
Well, obviously, Wally Dallenbach has told him no tires over the yellow.
So Michael Andretti makes a disastrous stop, but he may have gotten away with it because he was able to get it done under the yellow. We'll be back. On board with Michael. We're back at Michigan International Speedway, just outside of Brooklyn, Michigan, the beautiful Irish hills of southern Michigan. Michael Andretti works his way around under the caution flag. His father, Mario, picked up the lead of the race with that rather disastrous stop of Michael. Let's go down to the pits. First, we'll take a look at the standings. Mario, then Michael, Rick Mears, Arie Luyendyk, Bobby Rahal, the top 5 on this race that is rather typical Michigan 500, a very unpredictable race. There is always something strange or unusual that will occur. Now let's go to the pits, Brian.
Well, when Michael Andretti left the pits, his tires were wet from either water or fuel. That's what caused the spin. Now, when they go green, Michael will be assessed a stop-and-go penalty for that little U-turn it took to get back out on the race course. So Michael will be stopping when we go green, Paul.
There you see it moments ago. He just gunned it. The back end came loose and Michael got around. Let's go to the pits in Jackaroo.